Self-love. And this isn't about, like, bubble baths and treating yourself necessarily, though that's cool too. They define it more as having your own back, really rooting for yourself.
It's like think about how you treat someone you truly deeply care about, a partner or a best friend. You want the best for them, right? You accept them, flaws and all. It's about giving yourself that same kind of unwavering support.
I like that. So it's not selfish. It's more like empowering.
Exactly. Liberating, even. When you truly love and accept yourself, it kind of frees you from needing external validation. You're not settling for mediocrity. You're reaching for your full potential.
And it's not just sitting around thinking good thoughts, right?
Mhm.
The book makes it pretty clear that self-love means actually taking action to improve your life.
Spot on. You can't just think yourself into a better life, you know? Self-love is about putting in the work, making choices that align with your best interests, taking those concrete steps towards becoming the best version of yourself.
And today's treasure map leads us straight to good vibes, good life. So what we're really aiming for in this deep dive is to see how we can, well, use this book to actually live better, not just think about it.
Totally. We're going for practical, actionable stuff here. Mindset shifts, sure, but also those concrete steps you can take to start, attracting those good vibes and actually making those shifts in your day-to-day.
I am so ready for this. Let's get into it. Okay, so we've got this foundation of self-love. Now, the book dives into something, well, a little more out there. The law of vibration. And this one might be a bit new for some people listening. Basically, the idea is that everything in the universe is vibrating at an atomic level, right? Even things that seem solid.
Right, like even your desk, your chair, it's all just energy vibrating at different frequencies. And the cool thing is, your thoughts and feelings, they vibrate too. And guess what? You tend to attract things that are vibrating on a similar frequency.
Okay, I'm starting to see where this is going. So, like, attracts, like, on a, I guess, vibrational level?
That's it. And this isn't just some new age fluff either. The book actually references McLean, who basically said the whole universe is like this giant vibrational field, and we're all swimming in it. So your dominant thoughts and feelings, they're not just happening in a vacuum. They're actually shaping the reality you experience.
That's kind of mind-blowing. So our emotions are like a roadmap to our own personal vibrational frequency. And if I'm getting this right, we attract experiences that match that frequency.
You got it. Think of it like tuning a radio.
Wow.
When you dial in a specific frequency, you pick up a certain station. Same with your energy. If you're putting out negative vibes, well, chances are you're going to attract more negativity into your life. And the opposite is true too, of course. Hence, the importance of cultivating those good vibes.
Okay, this is making a lot of sense. So how do we tune ourselves to that good vibe station?
Well, the book goes into that, thankfully. It gives us a ton of practical tips. And, it even throws in some really interesting scientific research to back it up. For example, it talks about Dr. Hans Jenny's work with cymatics.
Cymatics.
Yeah, so he basically took materials like sand and vibrated them at different frequencies on a plate. And you know what? The higher the frequency, the more beautiful and intricate the patterns became. The lower the frequency, the more chaotic and jumbled they were. So think about that in terms of your own life. What kind of patterns are you creating with your dominant vibrational frequency?
I'm starting to see the picture. So it's not just about feeling good. It's about literally shaping our reality.
That's a great way to put it.
Okay, let's talk practical. Hit me with some of those good vibe tips.
All right, well, the book starts with a really simple one. Surround yourself with positive people. Now, I know this might sound kind of obvious, but think about it. The people you spend the most time with, their energy rubs off on you. If you're constantly surrounded by negativity, guess what? It's going to be a lot harder to keep your own vibes high.
Right, like misery loves company and all that.
Exactly. But the good news is the same is true for positive energy. When you're around people who are upbeat, supportive, and encouraging, it naturally lifts your own spirits.
Okay, that's a good starting point.
What else? Well, this one you can do right this second. Change your body language. Even something as simple as forcing a smile can actually release endorphins, which are those feel-good chemicals in your brain.
Seriously.
Seriously, it's like tricking your brain into feeling happier. Plus, there's a ton of research on the power of posture. Like those power poses Amy Cuddy talked about. Standing tall, arms outstretched for just 2 minutes. It can actually boost your testosterone and lower your cortisol, which is the stress hormone.
So fake it till you make it, basically.
In a way, yeah. It's about using your body to signal to your mind that you're confident and in control.
I like it. This is the kind of practical advice I'm here for. What's next?
This one is especially important for all the introverts out there. Distance yourself from stressors. It's okay to need some time alone to recharge, to step away from situations that are draining your energy.
Yes. The book called it being peopled out, and I felt that deep in my soul.
It's about setting boundaries, recognizing when you need to step back and replenish your own energy reserves.
Yeah.
It's not selfish, it's self-care. And honestly, it's essential for maintaining those good vibes.
I couldn't agree more. Anything else?
Oh, there's more, don't you worry. This one's pretty straightforward. Stop gossiping and disengaging from drama. The book makes a really strong case for how gossip and drama are just low vibe activities full of negativity and judgment. It even talks about how, from an Ayurvedic perspective, they can negatively impact your chakras, which are these energy centers in your body.
So basically, stay out of the gossip mill.
Exactly. It's not good for you, it's not good for the people you're gossiping about, and it just drags everyone down. Plus, think about it. Have you ever felt genuinely good after engaging in drama?
Honestly, no.
Me neither. It's just a recipe for stress and anxiety.
All right, I'm on board with that one. Give me another one.
This one is all about what you're putting into your body. Pay attention to your nutrition and water intake. The book explains how the food we eat literally affects our vibrational frequency. Processed foods, sugary drinks, all that stuff. It's basically junk food for your energy.
Yeah, I definitely feel sluggish after a fast food binge.
Exactly. And the book mentions this guy, Andre Simonton, who actually measured the electromagnetic vibrations of different foods, in angstroms. And guess what? Fresh fruits and vegetables. They vibrated at a much higher frequency than things like processed foods and meat.
Wow, so there's actually science behind the whole you are what you eat thing.
Yep. So if you want to raise your vibes, start by cleaning up your diet and making sure you're drinking enough water. Your body will thank you for it.
I'm starting to get hungry now, actually. But, okay, keep those tips coming.
All right, next up is a big one, and it's something you have complete control over: expressing gratitude. This is a game changer, and the book states it pretty plainly. You can't really feel bad when you're genuinely feeling thankful. It's about shifting your focus away from what you lack and towards what you already have.
I love that. Easier said than done sometimes, though, right?
Oh, well, the book has a great quote about it. Greatness starts with being grateful. And it gives this really relatable example about a guy named Will and his car. Basically, it says we often don't realize how much we appreciate something until we imagine our lives without it. There's also the story about a manager who was super difficult to work with, and how the person telling the story started focusing on things to be grateful for in the situation. And guess what? Things started to change. It's like gratitude is like a magnet for good vibes.
Okay, I'm sold. What's next on the list?
Let's talk about those pesky negative thoughts, the ones that can really bring you down. The book doesn't suggest trying to suppress them, but it does give a really cool 4-step process for transforming them.
Oh, all ears.
It's called Observe, Identify, Understand, Replace. So let's say you're feeling down because you didn't get a text back, like the example they use with Sarah in the book. First, you just observe the thought, I'm upset because they didn't text back. Then, identify the emotion, I'm feeling rejected. Next, try to understand where that feeling is coming from, maybe past experiences, maybe some deeper insecurity. And finally, replace that thought with a more positive one.
So instead of I'm rejected, it's maybe they're just busy.
Exactly. Or I'm worthy of love, regardless of whether they text me back. It's about taking control of your thoughts and choosing a more empowering narrative.
This is awesome. It's like a mental workout routine.
That's a great way to put it. Okay, moving on to another big one, especially in our digital world. Cultivating awareness of the present moment. The book talks about how we often miss out on what's happening right now because we're so busy dwelling on the past or worrying about the future.
I am so guilty of that.
Me too. It's like we're constantly connected but never truly present. The book suggests a really simple mindfulness exercise. Just take a moment to notice your body, your breath, the sounds around you. Really be in the moment.
And they even talk about how important this is in Buddhist teachings, right?
Totally. It's about finding that stillness within yourself, even amidst the chaos. And they even quote Yogi Mingyur Rinpoche, who said, meditation is simply about being aware of what's happening. Just that.
I need to print that quote out and stick it on my computer screen. What's next?
This one might be a bit tough to hear, but it's important. Make yourself a priority. And this isn't about being selfish. It's about setting healthy boundaries, especially when it comes to people who bring you down. The book uses this great analogy. A plant can't thrive in a toxic environment, right?
Ooh, that hits close to home.
It's about recognizing those relationships that are consistently draining or negative and taking steps to create a healthier dynamic, even if that means distancing yourself. It's okay to put your own well-being first.
Sometimes that's easier said than done, but I get it. And it's not just about other people, right? The book also talks about looking at your own behavior.
Totally. It's about self-awareness, checking yourself for any toxic tendencies that might be hurting you or others. Like, even small things like taking credit for someone else's work can have a negative impact.
Yeah, I've been there, and I'm sure we've all done it at some point.
Yeah.
But self-awareness is key. Okay, what about relationships?
The book has a whole section on the power of a good partner and how to walk away from unhealthy ones. It talks about how our own insecurities can sometimes lead to toxic relationship patterns.
Oof, yeah, I've been there.
Haven't we all? But the book really emphasizes that a healthy relationship should be empowering and supportive. It shouldn't feel limiting or restrictive. And it warns against clinging to potential. You can't change someone who doesn't want to change. Sometimes walking away is the bravest and most loving thing you can do.
That's a tough lesson, but so important.
Yeah.
What about friendships?
Choose real friendships, the book says. It's about knowing the difference between surface level connections and the kind of friends who are really there for you, through thick and thin, the ones who lift you up, not drag you down. And it's okay to outgrow friendships too as you evolve. Not everyone is meant to stay in your life forever.
I needed to hear that. Now, what about family? Those can be the trickiest relationships of all.
Totally. The book actually talks about facing family head on. It suggests trying to understand where they're coming from, even when they're being critical. Like often their intentions are good, but maybe their beliefs are a bit outdated or they're scared for you.
Yeah, they might be coming from a place of love, but it doesn't always feel like it.
Right. But the book gives this example of parents who are skeptical about their child starting an online business. And it talks about how important it is to show them you're serious, to prove them wrong, if you will.
Sometimes you have to pave your own path, even if your family doesn't get it right away. Okay, what about helping others?
Well, the book actually cautions against trying to help everyone all the time, especially if you're neglecting your own well-being in the process. There's a really powerful anecdote about the host's experience with their flatmate's suicide attempt and how it made them realize that you can't pour from an empty cup.
That's so true.
It's about recognizing your own limits and prioritizing your own energy. You can't effectively help others if you're running on fumes.
Self-care isn't selfish, it's essential. Okay, now let's talk about dealing with negative people in general.
The book has some really good advice on that. First and foremost, not everyone is going to understand you. The author even shares a personal experience with childhood bullying to illustrate this point. The book also uses this Osho quote, which is like, if you go on banging your head against the wall, certainly you will be hurt. It's about recognizing that you can't force people to change their perspective. Sometimes you just have to let them be.
Especially online, right?
Oh, totally. The book actually talks about how a lot of negative online behavior is just people seeking attention or validation, and that the best thing you can do is not give them that satisfaction. What they say about you really says more about them than it does about you.
That's good advice. It's easy to get caught up in online negativity.
Totally. The book also suggests just letting your good vibes protect you. Like some people are just allergic to positivity, and that's okay. You don't have to engage. Sometimes it's better to just walk away and focus on your own happiness.
So true. I had this manager once who was like that. I finally realized my energy was better spent elsewhere.
Exactly. Sometimes the most empowering thing you can do is remove yourself from a toxic situation.
I'm feeling really empowered right now, actually.
Good. Because the book comes back to self-love again, emphasizing how important it is for basically everything, especially your interactions with others. It talks about how we're often conditioned to care more about what other people think than what we think of ourselves.
That's a tough one to break free from.
It is. But the book uses this example of a couple, Kira and Troy, and how their relationship was really suffering because they both lacked self-love. The message is that when you truly love and accept yourself, it frees you from needing external validation. You're not seeking approval because you already approve of yourself.
Powerful stuff. Okay, what else?
Let's talk about beauty. The book has this whole section on recognizing your own beauty beyond societal standards. It talks about how difficult it can be to love yourself in a culture that's constantly bombarding us with unrealistic images of what's considered beautiful.
I mean, social media doesn't help.
Right. The book actually shares an anecdote about a public figure who received a ton of criticism about her looks, no matter what she did. And it makes this really important point that beauty is totally subjective. What one person finds beautiful, another might not. It's all about embracing your own unique features and rejecting those unrealistic standards.
Wear your imperfections proudly.
Exactly. And on that note, the book also talks about the importance of stopping comparing yourself to others, that thief of joy.
I hate that guy. He steals from me all the time.
Right. The book talks about how we learn to compare ourselves to others from a young age and how social media just amplifies that. It's like everyone's presenting their highlight reel, and it's easy to forget that no one's life is perfect.
So celebrate your own wins, and don't compare your behind the scenes to someone else's highlight reel.
You got it. And speaking of comparisons, the book has this great section on respecting your uniqueness. It says that being different isn't a bad thing, it's a superpower. It even talks about how fear and scarcity are used to keep us in line, like, don't be different, don't stand out, or else.
And they even call out those negative labels like geek or weirdo. It's like reclaiming those words and owning your uniqueness.
Exactly. It's about creating your own part to play in the world, not fitting into someone else's mold.
I love that. What's next?
Okay, this one's super important. Be kind and forgive yourself. We all make mistakes, right?
Huh.
It's part of being human. But the book really stresses the importance of letting go of those past mistakes and not beating yourself up over them. It even talks about how that critical inner voice can be so damaging and how we need to be more compassionate with ourselves.
I think we're all a little harder on ourselves than we are on anyone else.
Truth. And the book also says that forgiving yourself doesn't mean condoning bad behavior. It's just about finding peace and moving on.
Okay, makes sense. What else we got?
The power of positive thinking. This is a big one. The book defines it as choosing empowering thoughts over limiting ones, and it explains how a positive mindset can actually lead to a more positive life. Like attracts, like remember.
Yeah, I'm starting to see that play out in my own life, honestly. When I'm more positive, good things seem to happen.
Exactly. And the book even shares an example from the host's own life about how they found inspiration from other people's success stories when they were going through a tough time. It's about believing in the possibility of a better future, even when things are rough.
Okay, I like that a lot. What else we got?
Well, the book goes on to talk about the power of belief.
Yeah.
It says that believing in something can actually make it true for you. Like, if you believe you can achieve something, you're way more likely to actually achieve it. And it uses this really simple example about how if you believe that violence solves problems, well, you're going to create more violence. Right. And the book really stresses the importance of becoming aware of your thoughts and beliefs. It says events themselves are often neutral. It's the meaning we assign to them that shapes our experience.
So it's not about what happens to us. It's about how we choose to react to it.
You got it.
Okay, that's deep. Give me another nugget.
All right, get this. The book says that one thought is all it takes. Like, one tiny shift in your thinking can create huge ripples in your life, like the butterfly effect. It even uses a cannonball analogy. If you slightly change the angle of the cannonball will land in a totally different place.
So our thoughts are like little cannons firing off all the time.
That's a great way to put it. But the book acknowledges that changing deep-seated beliefs can take time. It talks about identifying the beliefs you want to change, questioning them, and then looking for evidence to support the new, more empowering beliefs.
So if you have a belief like, I can't change my future, challenge it, look for examples of people who have, and start believing a new story.
That's the idea. And it even mentions Dr. Masaru Emoto's water crystal experiments as an example of how our thoughts and words can actually affect matter on a molecular level.
I love that. What's next?
Okay, ready to start manifesting some good stuff?
Bring it on.
Well, the book says the first step is to set the intention. It's about getting clear on what you truly desire, focusing your energy on those things that really matter to you.
So it's like sending a request to the universe.
Exactly. And the book says once you set a clear intention, the universe often conspires to help you achieve it. It even gives this example of a songwriter who set an intention to write a hit song, and then all these amazing opportunities came their way.
Okay, I'm setting some intentions right now.
Write them down. The book says that written goals are more likely to manifest. There's actually a ton of research to support this.
I've heard that before. Like, something about the act of writing it down makes it more real.
Totally. And the book even goes into the specifics of how to write down your goals, like use a pen and paper, be honest, write in the present tense as if you've already achieved it, all that good stuff.
I am so here for this.
Great, because next up is visualization. It's about seeing your goals as already achieved, feeling the emotions associated with them, like a mental rehearsal, you know?
I feel like athletes do that a lot.
Yeah.
Right, like picturing themselves winning the race or whatever.
Yeah, and the book actually mentions Roger Federer, who's known for using visualization techniques.
Yeah.
It even talks about this study where people who mentally practice playing the piano actually improved their skills just as much as those who physically practiced.
So powerful. So we've set our intentions, written down our goals, visualized them. Now what?
Now, we trust the universe, but we also take action. It's not enough to just sit back and wait for things to magically happen.
Right, the universe helps those who help themselves.
Exactly. The book says it's like a partnership. You set the intention, take aligned action, and trust that the universe will support you along the way.
Love that. Okay, so we're taking action, we're trusting the universe. But the book also cautions against taking the easy route, right?
Yes, it's about pushing yourself outside your comfort zone, being willing to do the hard work, and uses this example of weight loss, like there are no shortcuts to true and lasting change.
Yeah, if it were easy, everyone would be doing it.
Exactly. And speaking of doing it, the book says that consistency is key. It's about showing up every day, even when you don't feel like it.
Easier said than done, especially on Mondays.
Tell me about it. But the book uses a great quote from Aristotle. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit.
I needed that reminder. I need to tattoo that on my forehead.
Maybe a sticky note will do for now. The book also talks about reviewing your methods and being willing to adapt, you know? Like, if something's not working, don't be afraid to switch things up.
Okay, I'm taking notes here.
Good, because the next section is all about procrastination, which, let's be honest, is a dream killer.
Oh, procrastination is my middle name.
Mine too. But the book gives some really helpful tips for overcoming it, like identify your triggers, create a supportive environment, set rewards, break down big tasks into smaller ones.
Okay, that's actually helpful. And speaking of big tasks, the book also talks about cultivating patience, really.
Yes. It's about trusting the process, knowing that some things just take time. There's this great quote. You'll get the job, the partner, the house, the car, etc. Just don't rush the process. Trust it. You have to grow into your dreams.
Okay, I need to write that one down too.
Definitely. And along with patience, it's about choosing long-term gains over short-term pleasures. The book even talks about how easy it is to get caught up in the instant gratification cycle, you know, living for the weekend, chasing those quick hits of dopamine.
Yeah, I've definitely been there.
But it's about recognizing that true fulfillment comes from those longer-term investments in yourself and your dreams.
Okay, so patience and delayed gratification. Got it.
Let go of attachment to the outcome. It's about trusting that things will unfold in the right way and at the right time. Trying to force things often just creates resistance.
So surrender to the flow.
Exactly.
Okay.
What else? This is a big one. Everything happens for a reason, even the tough stuff. The book really emphasizes that challenges are opportunities for growth, and it even shares this incredible story from a plane crash survivor who talked about how the experience completely changed their perspective on life.
Wow, that's powerful.
It's about not playing the victim, but seeing challenges as stepping stones on your path. And sometimes the universe will keep presenting us with the same lessons until we finally learn them.
Like those recurring patterns we all have.
Yep. And that's why the book also talks about noticing the warning signs. It's like the universe is always giving us subtle hints, but we have to be paying attention. The book even shares an example about someone who kept getting into car accidents because they were ignoring the signs that they needed to stop drinking. It's about learning from our experiences, even the painful ones.
I can definitely relate to that. Okay, so we're paying attention to the signs. We're learning from our experiences. What about finding our purpose?
The book has a whole section on that. It says everyone has a unique purpose, something they're here to contribute to the world. And it uses this great analogy. A soccer ball isn't truly fulfilled unless it's being kicked, you know?
Love that. So how do we find our purpose?
The book encourages us to follow our curiosity, to try new things, and to pay attention to those activities that light us up, that we could do for hours and lose track of time. It also says to act on those intuitive nudges we get, you know? Those little whispers that tell us to try something new or to go in a different direction.
Ooh, I'm getting chills.
And the book has this really inspiring quote about purpose. There is a purpose behind your existence, and when you discover what it is, you will not only change the dynamics of the world, but also experience abundance in all areas of your life.
I need to write that one down. Okay, before we wrap it, can we touch on money? It's a big topic.
Yeah, the book actually has a really interesting perspective on it. It says money is just energy, neither good nor bad. It's an amplifier of our intentions.
So, like, if you're using money for good, it can amplify the good, and if you're using it for bad, it can amplify the bad.
Exactly. And it talks about how we often create our own sense of lack and limitation around money. Like, it's not about how much you have, it's about your mindset around it.
So if you believe you're worthy of abundance, you're more likely to attract it.
That's the idea. But it also stresses that money isn't everything. True fulfillment comes from using your resources, whatever they may be, to make a positive difference in the world.
I like that a lot. Okay, so final question. How do we achieve true happiness?
Well, the book says it's an inward journey. It's about cultivating self-mastery, spiritual growth, positive thinking, all the things we've been talking about.
So it's not about external circumstances, it's about our internal state of being.
Exactly. It's about letting go of the past, embracing the present, and practicing unconditional love.
Wow. That's a lot to unpack, but so worth it.
Totally. It's about embracing self-love, setting boundaries, cultivating gratitude, and following your purpose.
It's about recognizing that you have the power to create the life you desire and that the journey itself is just as important as the destination.
So take some time to reflect on what we've discussed today and see which of these insights resonate with you. What small changes can you make today to start shifting your vibration and creating a life that truly lights you up?
It all started with one small step, one conscious choice.
And remember, you are worthy, you are capable, and you are powerful beyond measure. Now go out there and create the life of your dreams.
Yes. This has been an incredible deep dive into good vibes, good life. Thank you so much for walking us through it.
My pleasure.